So today, we're going to dive into a pretty revolutionary shift in how we fight gastric cancer. We're talking about moving away from a one-size-fits-all strategy to a new way of treating it that's incredibly personal and way more precise. And that quote right there, that's the heart of it all. This idea that a tumor isn't some generic thing, but it's deeply, deeply individual to each person. Understanding that has completely changed the game. But, to really get where we're going, we first have to understand where we've been. So let's start by looking at the traditional approach, the foundation of cancer care for a long, long time. So what are we actually talking about here? At its most basic, gastric cancer, or stomach cancer, is what happens when the normal, healthy cells in the lining of your stomach just start growing and they don't stop. Okay, so for decades, treatment was all about the standard of care. Think of it like the official playbook, right? The tried and true methods. But here's the key thing to understand. These treatments were chosen based on where the tumor was and how advanced it was, its stage, not on what was actually making it tick on the inside. And inside this playbook, you've got the heavy hitters. You have surgery, which is pretty straightforward. You physically cut the tumor out. Then there's chemotherapy, which uses powerful drugs to go after any cell in the body that's growing fast. And radiation, which blasts a specific area with high-energy beams. These have been the pillars for a very long time.
But, and this is a big but, there was a challenge. Because methods like chemotherapy are designed to be a bit of a blunt instrument, attacking anything that divides quickly, they can't really tell the difference between a cancer cell and a healthy cell, like the ones in your hair or your stomach lining. And that's where a lot of the tough side effects come from.
And it was that very challenge, that sort of collateral damage, that really pushed science to a turning point. The focus started to shift from just attacking the cancer to trying to really understand it, all the way down to the molecular level. I mean, this slide really says it all, doesn't it? We went from just looking at the outside of a cancer cell, what it looked like, to basically cracking it open, getting inside, and reading its genetic code to find the very instructions that were making it so dangerous. So what made this huge leap possible? Well, it really came down to two major breakthroughs. First, something called genomic sequencing, which gave us the power to map out a tumor's entire DNA and find the exact mutations that were fueling it. And that discovery led to the second breakthrough, targeted therapies. These are like smart drugs, designed to hunt down those specific mutations and just shut them off. And with those tools in hand, we entered this whole new era of cancer treatment, one that circles right back to that idea of a cancer having its own unique fingerprint. And that brings us to precision oncology. So what is it exactly? Well, that analogy about the instruction manual is perfect. If a cancer's DNA is its instruction manual, precision oncology is all about finding the typos in that manual that are causing all the trouble. Then you can develop drugs that only go after the cells with that exact typo, and hopefully leave the healthy cells alone. Okay, so when scientists are digging into a tumor's DNA, what are they actually looking for? They're on the hunt for something called biomarkers. Think of them as unique flags or signposts on the surface of the cancer cell. In gastric cancer, some of the really important ones are HER2, PD-L1, and MSI-H. If a doctor finds one of these flags on a tumor, it's a huge signal that a specific targeted drug might work really, really well. Okay, so that all sounds really impressive, right? But what does it actually mean in the real world? How is this new approach really different when the rubber meets the road? All right, let's break it down side by side. Look at this. With standard care, treatment is based on the organ, in this case the stomach, and the stage. With precision oncology, it's all about the unique genetics of that specific tumor. The goal of standard care is broad: kill all fast-growing cells. Precision oncology is much sharper. Attack the specific drivers making that cancer grow. It's the difference between a wide net approach and a highly targeted one, found using advanced DNA tests instead of just standard scans. The science here is just wow. But let's get to the most important part. What does all this mean for the person who matters most in this story? The patient. Honestly, it means a much, much brighter outlook. It's really that simple. We're seeing more and more research showing that when you can match a specific treatment to a tumor's genetic profile, the outcomes for patients get a whole lot better. And when we say better outcomes, what are we talking about? Well, for starters, better response rates, which means the tumor is much more likely to actually shrink. That can lead to extended survival and, just as importantly, a higher quality of life. And because the treatment is so targeted, many people get to avoid some of the harshest side effects of traditional chemo. It's a game changer. Which really brings us full circle, back to this incredible question.
We started with the idea of a cancer being as unique as a fingerprint. Well, precision oncology is the path toward a future where the treatment is just as unique. It's a future where we're not just treating a disease, we're treating the person.